Holy shit. What's up, everyone? It's your boy, Pet. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite horror podcasts of 2018. Some of these podcasts are kind of old, and I've discovered them a couple of years ago, but I recommend listening to them in 2019 if you haven't yet, because it's so easy to binge listen to seasons when they're complete. Also, my apologies, I'm getting over strep throat, so that's probably what you're hearing. I'm going to be talking about horror podcasts specifically, and not true crime ones. I'll have a different video for that. I'll briefly talk about each podcast and what I liked about them. I'll also try my best not to spoil anything. I've been told I over-explain things sometimes, so I'll try my best not to explain the entire podcast. This list is in no particular order. Without anything further, let's get this started. So my first podcast on the list is The Darkest Night. It's on its third season now. The third season started in 2018. You'll have 3 seasons to listen to, which is pretty freaking awesome. The first season deals with a neuroscientist who works on a project called Project Cyclops, which deals with seeing what a person saw before they died by studying their optic nerves from decapitated heads. That sounds pretty badass. So what I like about this podcast is it's a great story. It's pretty consistent. It's got a hidden conspiracy theory feel to it, which is really interesting and very funny. And they do this all with such a great sense of humor. I like that it's not only scary, it's also hilarious. And they've got a great cast of voice actors and it's super professional. RuPaul's in it. People from American Horror Story are in it. And this is supposed to be something called a binaural experience, so it only really works if you wear headphones. The second podcast on my list is super new. It came out in 2018 and it finished in 2018, so it's very easy to listen to. It's called Blackwood. Do you like cults? Do you like familiar voice actors and amazing sound design? Then, Blackwood is for you. It's a really great scripted podcast about teenagers trying to find out about an urban legend called the Bugman. It's very interesting, a lot of conspiracy theories. Next podcast on my list is something called the White Vault podcast. It's about found recordings from a team of researchers working on a project in Norway called Outpost Freestead. The voice acting is really great and the storyline is really consistent. I find with a few horror podcasts, it starts off with a very strong storyline and then kind of drifts or like goes off on too many different tangents or too many things are going on at the same time. With the White Vault, it's very consistent. It doesn't veer off into random subplots or anything like that. So it's super awesome. Plus I love found footage, found recording types of media, and I eat that shit up. Alright, another podcast that I really love that I've been listening to for a while is called The Black Tapes. This was my favorite podcast a couple years ago. It's kind of winding down now, so it's easy to listen to in 2018. It's about a journalist named Alex Regan who interviews a paranormal skeptic named Dr. Richard Strand, who has $1 million prize to give to anyone who he can't debunk. While Alex is in his office, she stumbles upon The Black Tapes. And you should listen to it before I spoil anything. It's really great. The next horror podcast on my list is called the No Sleep Podcast. Sometimes we can't always read the popular horror subreddit, so why don't we give it a listen? The No Sleep Podcast boasts a huge staff of voice actors who work incredibly hard to produce long episodes with multiple stories. They usually have like warnings in the description, which is pretty great and awesome. A few of the voice actors though, this is my own personal opinion, I really can't stand listening to their voice. I literally can't stand listening to some of their voices. They have a huge staff of voice actors and they range from all sorts of different skill levels, but some of them are super overdramatic or super monotoned and I freaking hate it, and I will usually skip over that episode if I see their name. That's my own personal opinion. You can listen to whatever the fuck you want. Next podcast is finished already. It finished years ago, but I think you should listen to it in 2019 because I think it's worth a shot. It's called Knife Point Horror. It's a collection of supernatural stories without the bells and whistles. It's narrated by Soren Narnia. He has a really calming voice that will leave you with chills. His voice is perfect for horror narration. Also, Knife Point Horror doesn't really have like a specific storyline, so you can just listen to whichever episode that catches your fancy and have fun. The next podcast I really enjoy is called Tanis. It's the Black Tape Sister podcast. It's more of a conspiracy theory, sort of science fiction-y podcast. It's really fun to listen to, and the main narrator, Nick, has a very soothing voice. So listen to it to find out who or what Tanis is. This particular podcast that I'm going to talk about next finished a couple years ago, but now it's starting to upload episodes again in 2019. It's called Small Town Horror. It's about a guy searching for answers about his kidnapping that happened 18 years ago. It's a little slow on the first 2 episodes, but those 2 episodes are mostly about background information, so stick around for the rest of it and it gets super interesting and pretty creepy. The next podcast that I really love is called Archive 81. It finished a few years ago. It's a short, sweet podcast. It's so great. It's about a man named Daniel Powell who disappeared 3 months ago. His friend receives tapes that Dan recorded and uploads them for everyone to hear. Again, it's a found recording type of podcast, which I eat up and love. Another podcast that I want to talk about is called Creepy. It's a collection of creepypasta. Enough said, it's by the guy who also narrates Small Town Horror. His voice is really monotone, which isn't a bad thing in this case. I enjoy it. I don't always have time to sit there and read creepypastas, so might as well listen to them. Everyone, so that was my list of horror podcasts that you should listen to in 2019. I hope you liked it. Some podcasts that I really want to listen to in 2019 are The Last Movie, The Long Dance, The Leap Year Society. If you have any more recommendations of horror podcasts, let me know. If you've listened to something that really spooked you, drop a comment and let me know. Alright, I hope you have a great night and get spooked. See ya.